I'm trying to create sort of a micro miniature of my yard in the house. And right now, blooming in the yard, I have quince and daffodils, and I have magnolias, tulip magnolias, and they're fabulous. So I'm going to make the most of them. And I've had to throw out some of my old stems and replace them with new stems so that the arrangement will look fresh. And I also want to increase the height of it, make it look more balanced. They say you should have 2/3 of it above the height of your vase in order for it to look balanced. So I'm going to cut this right about here. Tough stuff. And I'm going to take off, even though these are wonderful buds, I'm going to take them off because they're going to be below the water line. And that'll just increase the bacteria. So everything below the water line I've taken off. And here are all these new buds that we can see. Now as I put more stuff in there, I'll make sure that stands up straight. So here is another really fine quince. And I kind of like that vine. I don't like the way it's sticking down, so I'm going to cut that off. And I really like the structure of this. That looks just fine the way it is. And it's a little bit tall, so I'm going to cut it off right about there. Help this stand up straight too. There we go. Prop that little stem up there on the other one. Help these guys work together like they do in nature, because they're all kind of intertwined in nature. And I've got one more stem that I think is going to balance these out, because it looks a little out of balance on this side. So I'm going to put this stem so that it points out in this direction. I don't need this. And let's see, if it's going to be balanced, it's going to stick out this way. And let's see, so I'm just going to take off a little bit on the bottom and then see what happens when I drop it in. And it'll come to its own balance. It'll tell me where it needs to go. Okay, well that looks good to me too. Thank you, Lord. All right, now I've got this big magnolia stem here, but I think I'm going to work in these daffodils first and make them look semi-normal, like they're growing out of the ground. Just sort of drop them in wherever they want to stop. Oh, that looks good. That's going to open up real high. That's going to open up really nicely there. We need one right about here. We're going to want to see all these little buds too, so we don't want to overcrowd the vase. We just want it to look naturalized and abundant. Okay, that stem doesn't want to turn. That's fine. Here, let's get this one. It's a different color. That's going to have a little different center. Let's try to put it right here so that we can see it. There. All right, I just keep turning it. Turning it. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to leave that last daffodil because I might need it to fill a hole. Now, these wonderful magnolias don't normally grow like this. So the trick is going to be put them in so that you can see them blooming. Let's see where the best place to look at them is. I think if they're pointed out this way, they'll look great. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that off because that would be below the water line. This one, if it gets enough nourishment, might bloom, so I'm not going to cut it off. Okay. Let's stick it in there. Yes, I think that's nice. I think that's very abundant looking. I'm going to pull that daffodil up a little bit so he looks a little more visible. Make everybody balance. And that's a really big arrangement, isn't it? Well, let's try to balance this side with some more of this magnolia. Now that stem is crooked, so it's not going to help me arrange it very easily. So I'm going to have to cut it off lower than I thought. That way the stem will be straighter. Cut all these things off that are going to be below the water line. And see if we can't make one of the magnolias bloom in this direction. That looks pretty good. Okay, so I got one more daffodil, and I think I'm going to put that daffodil right here. Just going to drop it right there. And tomorrow morning it's going to greet me. There you go. Okay, let me clear all this off, and you can see how pretty this is. That's a slice of my yarn. Now, shall I set it down where I